Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another reaction video. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, back here with some more Ottoman history, Ottoman Wars. This is like, man, what are we on? 15. I didn't realize there was 28 videos. When I first started this series, I really only was going to do like a couple and then come back to it. And then, when you start doing series, they kind of suck you in. You kind of want to see what happens next and kind of thing. And so I ended up doing the whole thing. So that's kind of what happens here. And, I have a community tab, which obviously a lot of them are war series and stuff like that. So I'm not going to end up getting to those basically until this series is up. So for those of you putting those suggestions in there, a lot of you might be waiting a while, and I apologize about that. But it is what it is. But anyways, guys, we're doing like I said, if you're new, definitely check out the beginning of this series. And guys, definitely check out other stuff. We're doing Preveza 1538. I have no idea where this is. Yeah, I just don't. Are we still in Europe, or do we have to like kind of make a sidetrack kind of to the east here to kind of cool things down? Maybe there's an uprising. I don't know. Or I'm trying to. I don't know. I don't even read the descriptions of these things, which are probably make more sense. But then I have read a couple of descriptions in the past, not this series or anything, and sometimes they'll give you like it'll be a spoiler of what happens, and it's like you don't want spoilers, right? But anyways, guys, hit the like and subscribe button below. I'd really appreciate it. And we're gonna jump into some more Ottoman War. Woo! Dun, dun, dun. I'm curious, what's everyone's like favorite series I've done? For those of you who've watched this for a while, like, what's the favorite series I've done so far that you've watched? 3, 2, 1, bam!
In 1529, Sultan Suleiman's army was repelled from the walls of Vienna,
Right.
while the Ottomans had hit a roadblock in their inland.
Yeah, it was like what's it called? Yeah, I never even touched on the previous episode. Yeah, Vienna. That was a pretty crazy siege. I remember someone, I forget who was corrected me that I said like the Ottomans kind of saved Hungary, but maybe I guess they could have been like that. But again, Hungary could have still been Hungary without the Ottomans. It just would have been under someone else's control. What's the name? Ferdinand's control. But I don't know if they would have just swallowed up Hungary to be part of whatever country they were in. I don't know. So that was kind of my just kind of thought process I get. I was with that. But anyways, yes.
From the walls of Vienna. While the Ottomans had hit a roadblock in their inland expansion, their power at sea remained largely unchallenged.
Oh, yeah.
This was mainly due to one man.
Oh yeah, when I was searching for this, I don't even look at I don't pay attention to my camera, but the little like picture I had here when I was searching for a picture to put over here, it was sea battles. Like I was like, so that obviously I had no idea, but now okay, Professor, maybe it's the name of a sea battle, but and that is awesome. I love when we get into these battles on sea, in these videos. I just think it's an extra treat, So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Like, I forgot about that, So I guess that's all I know about this is it's probably going to be on sea. Anyways.
Hayreddin Barbarossa, one of the greatest naval commanders of the age. In this episode, we will cover the life and conquests of this pirate-turned-lord, culminating in his magnum opus, a victory over a great Christian coalition at the Battle of Preveza.
Okay.
Hayreddin was born in 1478 as Kizir on the Greek island of Lesbos. Kizir had 3 brothers, Isaac, Uruch, and Ilya. His father was a soldier of Albanian origin who had helped the Turks conquer Lesbos from the Genoese back in 1462, after which he had established himself on the island, became a potter, and bought a ship to sell his goods overseas. The late 15th century was a time where Christian and Islamic powers struggled against one another for domination over the Mediterranean, relying often on unscrupulous privateers to target each other's merchant vessels. Much of Kizir's early life was spent aiding the family business, though fate would soon alter this course when his father's vessel was captured by the Knights Hospitaller, who were still operating at large from their fortress on Rhodes.
Wow.
The Knights killed his younger brother Ilya and captured his elder brother Uruch, jailing him at their stronghold in Bodrum. It was here that
Okay, so like this is like a little Christian like stronghold here or whatnot, and I bet these are full of pirates right here because, I mean, they're obviously the ships that get robbed are from the Ottoman Empire, and so they're not gonna, obviously there's no Christian ships in the area, so they're pretty much fair game and like being pirates, and obviously the Christians way over in the West aren't going to do nothing about this. So I didn't really think about that, but yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of pirates here, especially from they're not Christian. I'm sorry, especially from like Rhodes here. But I'm sure like there's pirates, Ottoman pirates, steal from Ottomans. I'm sure that's a thing, but and I'm not sure. I guess I don't know how the police system works, if people actually get caught, or if like maybe the Mediterranean Sea is kind of pretty much like the Wild West, every man for himself, because there's not really any people to, there's no one really, because there's not many consequences except from other pirates, maybe. I'm not sure. There's military all around here that will prevent it, but I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, it just seems like, yeah, a stronghold for pirates right here, anyways.
brother Uruch, jailing him at their stronghold in Bodrum. It was here that Khizr took his first steps into the life that would make him a legend. When he eventually learned of Uruch's location, he sailed for Bodrum and, against the odds, managed to liberate his brother. This experience changed the brothers. They abandoned their occupation as merchants and
He delivers to the. Okay, because it was pirates that took him. So I was thinking that it was like a base or something they had to get into, but if it's just pirates, it could have not been much of a fort. But he came and got him back, so good for him. I bet that was kind of rare back then. They got him back alive. It's okay, I guess they're going to change from being merchants.
Experience changed the brothers. They abandoned their occupation as merchants and launched themselves into a life of piracy. Uruch forged the path, creating a small name for himself as a raider under the service of an Ottoman prince, and later the Mamluk Sultan. In 1504 he was joined by Khizr, and together they travelled to Tunisia, where the Sultan granted them the port of La Goleta for use as a base of operations. In 1509 they were joined by their brother Ishak. Khizr and his kin had arrived in North Africa at an opportune time. Back in 1492, the Spanish crown had expelled the last of the Islamic rulers from Iberia, and in the following decades they had turned their ambitions southwards, capturing pockets of coastal territory in Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. Uruch participated in evacuating Spanish Muslims from Iberia, earning him the title Baba, meaning father. The Europeans took Baba Uruch to mean Barbarossa, Redbeard. Given that all three brothers had crimson facial hair, the nickname stuck, and even
Redbeard. So is he like that Redbeard? Like, I don't know anything about like pirate history. Doesn't like Redbeard, Blackbeard, and like Long John Silver, that kind of thing. Computer's making weird noises. But anyways, so is this the Redbeard they're talking about when they have when it comes to pirates and Redbeard? I'm assuming this is it, or are they talking about because I think about pirates, I think more of the Caribbean kind of thing. So I'm just curious if this is who they're referring to when you hear the pirate Redbeard. Obviously, it is for this, but I don't know if there's other pirates named Redbeard. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, cool. We got pirates going on.
Given that all three brothers had crimson facial hair, the nickname stuck and even became used by the Turks in the form of Barbaros. The Barbaros brothers would find their early North African exploits defined by conflict with the Spanish and their Christian allies. They became a scourge to the coasts of southern Italy and Spain while repulsing a Spanish attack on Algiers. In 1512, the brothers launched an assault upon Spanish-controlled Béjaia, Uruch had a limb blown off during the battle, which he promptly replaced with a shiny prosthetic, earning him the title Silver Arm. Every victory earned the Barbaros brothers more prestige in the Muslim world. The following years saw them embark on more successful raiding parties, setting the torch to the hinterlands of Genoa and the coast of Valencia. In 1516, the Barbarossas expelled a garrison of Spaniards from Algiers and deposed the local emir. Uruch reigned as Sultan of Algiers for a year, before offering the territory to the Ottoman Sultan in exchange for his aid against the Spanish. Sultan Selim accepted, and Algiers was absorbed into the empire. Uruch was given the title Beyler Bey, the chief governor of North Africa.
Okay, it kind of blows my mind that this guy was just like a merchant doing trading, and then kind of says like turns pirate. Then he's basically uh gaining all this land for the Ottomans. Like it's like what a turn of events, and it's kind of crazy to think about. Wow.
Beyler Bey, the chief governor of North Africa. In 1518, Uruch and Ishaq seized the city of Tlemcen, only to face an army of 10,000 Spaniards at their gates. Though they put up a fierce fight, both were killed.
Wow.
With their deaths, Khizr now stood as the sole survivor of 4 brothers, the last Barbaros, a title by which he'd become known by.
Oh.
In 1522, he partook in the Ottoman invasion of Rhodes, helping to finally oust his old foes from their island stronghold. The 1520s were a whirlwind of devastation, as it seemed nothing could stop the legendary Barbaros and his corsairs. Sardinia, Marseille, Liguria and Sicily were all victims of his raids, their people carted off as slaves for his galleys. The whole western seaboard of the Mediterranean was held in a grip of terror. Towns were heavily fortified, coastal villages were abandoned, and a contemporary Spanish source claims that from the Strait of Gibraltar to that of Messina, no one could eat in peace or go to sleep with a sense of security.
Wow.
Introducing T-Mobile's hometown discount. Switch today at your local store and get 25% off for life.
Let's fight like demons.
No!
Sorry. Everywhere, man. Everywhere.
In 1532, Barbaros was summoned to Constantinople, where he was given a special mission. A Genoese admiral by the name of Andrea Doria had been marauding Ottoman holdings in the Peloponnese. It was not the first time the Redbeard had encountered Doria. His fleets had clashed with the wily Italian many times before. Barbaros set out in pursuit of the Genoese fleet and intercepted them at Preveza, where he captured 7 galleys and forced the rest of Doria's ships to flee. It was a foreboding preview of a later battle to be fought in the same location between the same 2 men.
All right.
Returning to Constantinople triumphant, the Sultan Suleiman appointed Barbaros as the Grand Admiral of the Ottoman Navy and gave him the title Hayreddin, Best of the Faith. Barbarossa proceeded to seize 9 major Aegean islands from the Venetian Republic. He devastated the Isle of Corfu, annihilating its farms and enslaving almost its entire rural population.
Damn.
Balking from their losses, the Venetians called upon the Pope to aid them. Barbarossa had finally become too big a threat, and Pope Paul III leapt to action, bringing together a vast alliance, a holy league comprised of Spain, Venice, Genoa, the Papal States, the Habsburgs, and the Knights Hospitaller, who were now based in Malta.
The Pope got this, like all these countries together, this giant league together to take down Barbarossa. Oh man, you know this guy is badass, man, and is good at what he does when like the Pope's got to get all these people together to kind of gang up on him. So I'm rooting for it. Come on, Barbarossa. Come on, Redbeard. You got this. Take him down.
States, the Habsburgs, and the Knights Hospitaller, who were now based in Malta. The battle that was to come would be the greatest military challenge Barbaros would ever face.
Oh man, can't wait. Let's do it.
In summer of 1538, the great Christian coalition began to gather off the shores of Corfu. First to arrive were the Venetian and the Papal flotillas. Eager to secure coastal dominance in the battle to come, the Papal admiral dispatched a vanguard of galleys down the coast, attempting to seize the Ottoman-held fortress at Preveza. After a short skirmish, they were handily beaten back and were forced to wait for the rest of the coast.
Sorry, this computer is making weird noises and it's annoying. Unplug. No better now. Alright, where were we? Alright. Come on, I don't want anything interrupting this this battle that's about to happen.
A short skirmish, they were handily beaten back and were forced to wait for the rest of the coalition to arrive. On September 22nd, none other than Andrea Doria arrived at the command of a vast Spanish and Genoese fleet. Doria would assume overall command of the entire Allied fleet. It seemed fate had put the Italian admiral head-to-head with his old foe Hayreddin once more. In total...
Okay, so Dorian's going to be like the head of the fleet here, but we know that Barbarossa, last time they came in contact with you, Barbarossa got the better of them. So, obviously, these two guys know each other pretty well, but Barbarossa, I think is, he's up on them when it comes to battles. So, I like his chances, even though he's probably extremely outnumbered but see, he's got his fleet all by him. He's probably like all in different countries combined. So, that could also, be a big thing to kind of overcome, with languages and different tactics that maybe different people use. I don't know.
Head-to-head with his old foe Hayreddin once more. In total, the Holy League's navy comprised of 112 galleys, 50 galleons, 140 barks, and over 60,000 armed soldiers.
Okay.
One vessel worth noting was the Venetian flagship, a behemoth of a galleon that dwarfed its foes, commanded by Alessandro Condottiero. Meanwhile, Barbarossa was fully aware of the great host rallying around him, and mustered his fleet off the island of Ios. He had 122 galleys and galleots, and 12,000 armed soldiers. His ships were outnumbered 3-1, but his vessels were rowed primarily by galley slaves, and therefore were not dependent on the wind like the European barks and galleons that made up the bulk of the Holy League fleet. This would make them more reliable in the battle. Barbarossa sailed his ships westward, then up the west coast of Greece into the well-protected Gulf of Preveza.
I know it's like to give the slaves the galleys down there. I've seen movies, and that's got to be the most like horrible thing to do as a slave. So it's like, but yeah, that definitely sucks. Because if one of these guys ships get rammed, if you're in a galley, I think you're like chained to like the ground or something. So like you're down with the ship, like you're not surviving. If your ship goes down, you go down. So I mean, the life of a galley, man, I don't think you could like survive that for a long period of time. I guess you could, but man, that's got to be a rough life. Anyways, so he's outnumbered, but he's got the more reliable ships. Okay, so it kind of evens that, right?
Westward, then up the west coast of Greece into the well-protected Gulf of Preveza. There he deployed a contingent of his soldiers ashore, commandeering control of the fortress at Actium, whose artillery would provide his ships with shoreside support in the fight to come. Realizing once more the importance of coastal dominance, the Venetians and Papal ships made two separate attempts to seize the fortress of Preveza, which faced opposite to Barbarossa's fortifications at Actium. Twice they struck, on the 25th and 26th of September, but both times were repelled by the flotilla of Hayreddin's subordinate, Murat Reis.
Wow.
By now, Doria had realized that Barbaros had secured himself a strong position against the coast. The Genoese admiral dared not attack the well-entrenched Ottoman fleet head-on, but also figured that the numerically inferior enemy would not strike out against him either. Assuming that time was on his side, and fearing the late-season gales that would drive his fleet into a vulnerable position, Doria ordered his ships 30 miles south, anchoring at Sessola, a small island off Lefkada. The plan was to launch an attack on nearby Lepanto, forcing Barbarossa to emerge from his den. However, coordinating a fleet of over 300 vessels proved a logistical nightmare, and the move left the Holy League spread out and exposed.
Wow, it's true.
Barbarossa took this chance to strike. At dawn, his ships emerged from the Gulf of Preveza and rounded the northern tip of Lefkada, bearing down.
Like, that had to be, like, really hard, you know. There's a lot of ships probably spread out. Just to signal every ship, and, you know, I don't know if there's some kind of sign language with the flags, or I don't know how that kind of thing works, but there's got to be a lot of confusion if you have a lot of ships from different countries, like I said. And yeah, and so I guess they're going to try and pick off maybe a few ships at a time that are separate from the pack and try and kind of even the odds more. I guess that's kind of like what the plan is here.
Emerged from the Gulf of Preveza and rounded the northern tip of Lefkada, bearing down on the Christian fleet. His ships assembled into a Y formation, comprised of 3 segments in the front and 1 in the rear. Barbarossa himself commanded the center from his flagship galley, with his commanders Seydi Ali Reis and Salih Reis on the wings.
With Squarespace, editing and adding pieces on my e-commerce.
Barbarossa's approach was completely unexpected by anyone in the Allied Armada. The Holy League's navy was overextended, spread out into rows, with Dorius's Spanish-Genoese contingent 10 miles behind the Venetians, Sicilians and Maltese squadrons, who would be the first to be attacked.
Damn.
From his flagship, Venetian commander Condomiero sent a rowboat to Doria, requesting orders. Doria sent a correspondence back, declaring that he would sail his ships into the fray. This bolstered the confidence of the Venetians, who braced themselves for battle. On the afternoon of September 28th, the opposing fleets clashed, and the fighting began. The Ottomans had the initial advantage, for the Venetian barks that relied exclusively on sail were rendered immobile on a windless sea. Thus the Ottoman galleys, rowed by slaves, were able to outmaneuver them. However, the Christians possessed a trump card. The Venetian flagship was akin to a dreadnought, and possessed considerable firepower that the Ottomans could not match. Waves of Barbarossa's galleys assailed the Great Galleon, with one even managing to take down the flagship's main mast, but as they drew closer, they were devastated by a full cannonade blasting from the ship's every gun port.
Damn.
The Ottomans were forced to retreat, but continued this dance for a time, the Venetian and Maltese front line engaging in a heated skirmish with the Ottomans, with the bulk of the fighting centered around the Venetian flagship. Galleys skirted up close, harassing it with light guns and picking off its crew, only to be blasted away by its precise and powerful cannon fire time and time again.
Yeah, I guess if you have the flagship, you know, a giant ship, like there's no like torpedoes. It's obviously going to be higher off the water, so like just like running into it and boarding it, I guess, is not an option. Plus, I'm sure that flagship has probably twice as many people on it than any of the Ottoman ships, and so just the height and this way more cannons. Yeah, it's probably just a death wish to get near that thing. But man, if you can take that thing down, like the morale boost of like the morale decline of your opponent is going to go way down. So, I mean, they tried, but man, I think it's got to be harder to maneuver if you can get to like maybe the tail of it where there's less gun ports, you know, because the windlass, you know, whatever, windlass sea, so it can't really turn around. So if you could just get from the ends where there's not as many, you know, cannons, probably your best shot maybe, but still like the height, it'd be hard. Anyways, so I guess we're retreating here.
Blasted away by its precise and powerful cannon fire time and time again. Meanwhile, Doria was notably slow in his promise to join the fray. Instead, the Genoese admiral left the isolated Venetians to stand alone, while he drew his ships out to sea, trying to lure the Ottoman galleys into open waters away from the fortified coast. Barbaros did not take the bait, knowing that he could not afford to engage in major fleet action on the high seas. The sun soon began to set, and the situation grew more dire for the Christian front line. Skirmishing continued throughout the evening. The Venetian flagship was still mounting a gallant defence, blasting away any that attempted to board it. Wary of the futility of capturing the gargantuan vessel, Barbaros ordered his galleys to withdraw. The galleon of Venice managed to slink back to Corfu, though no man could deny the honourable struggle it had put up. The Ottoman galleys instead turned their attention to the smaller Sicilian and Venetian barks. Using their greater manoeuvrability, they managed to board and capture yet another handful of Christian ships in the last hour before dusk.
Damn.
At dawn, Doria made a fateful decision. Taking advantage of favourable winds, he retreated from the battlefield, sailing his ships northwards back to Corfu. Envoys of the Venetian, Papal and Maltese fleets pleaded he continue the fight, but were ignored. Sources attribute his retreat to different reasons. Some say that Doria was accustomed to commanding galleys, not the sailing ships the Holy League put in his command. Some say that as a loyal Genoese, he despised his Venetian rivals and was not willing to risk his own ships to save them. Some say he simply lost his nerve. Whatever the reason, the battle was over. Through patience, fortitude, and the boldness to strike when the moment was right, Barbaros had won a great victory. In the end, Hayreddin had sunk 10 ships, burned 3 others, captured 36, and had taken about 3,000 prisoners. Meanwhile, he himself had not lost a single ship, though a handful of galleys had been critically damaged by the Venetian flagship. Only 400 Ottoman soldiers were dead and 800 wounded. The unprecedented success of Barbarossa secured Ottoman naval dominance in the Mediterranean for the next 4 decades. But Suleiman still had a stubbornly persistent rival to face both on land and sea, the Habsburgs. We are planning to cover every major battle and campaign in Ottoman history.
Wow, Dorian! Oh, come on, dude! Like you just fled. I don't no one knows. There's a million reasons no one knows, but I feel like he would want to take down Barbarossa just from the earlier defeat and want to show him. But there had to be some political stuff involved, and like I said in the beginning of the video, the fact that they all weren't just one, and he might have had something against his allies there and just left them out to dry. Like, come on, man. So I mean, he might have made the right move because he wasn't controlling galleys, and like they say, if I go in there, he's probably going to get the best of me, and I'd rather just save the ships that I have instead of just getting totally massacred kind of thing. But man, that's cool though. It's really cool, really cool, really cool. I really like the sea battles, even though there's not as many pieces to move, like the land battles kind of thing where you flank, but you can flank that, and all the ships look very similar. So sometimes I get confused, but whose are whose ships. Yeah, I definitely like that. I think there's definitely a treat when they happen in these videos because they don't happen a lot. So cool stuff, guys. Cool stuff. Let me know your thoughts below in the videos of what your thoughts and what you believe. Why do you think he left and didn't join and try and get the Ottomans there at the end there? What do you think the real reason? I guess you guys wouldn't know either, but I don't know. It doesn't really look good on him in the long run when looking back on things. Barbarossa just, man, looks like a king when it comes to the sea. Redbeard. I mean, he's got a cool nickname. So, anyways, guys, yeah, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Another cool video from the Ottoman Wars. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. You guys are amazing. Catch you guys in future videos. I am out of here. Peace.